Welcome to the Self-Discovery Files. This is episode 29, and I'm not going to waste time with the intro because this episode is going to be a straight, unfiltered thought process, and I think there's a lot of great things in here for you guys to hear. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, for this episode, I want to talk about something that is a little bit less self-development, and I'm going to talk straight at you. Whoever is listening to this, let me ask you something straight. Okay, what are you doing with the time? Okay, not in a big philosophical sense. Okay, not like what is your purpose in the universe. I mean, today, right? This week, the last 30 days. What are you actually doing with the time that you've been given? Because I think about this a lot, and I mean, a lot. Like there are moments where I stop and I look at my day and really look at it, and I ask myself, am I actually living, or am I just moving through the day until it's over? And that's, I think, a hard question to sit with. Here's what I think most people confuse. They think that being alive is the same as living. It's not. Your heart beating, your lungs working, your body getting up in the morning and going through the motions, that's not life. That's the entry fee, okay? That's just the baseline. That's what you got for free. The life part, the real part, is what you do with the time on top of that. And time doesn't care about your plans. It moves. Whether you're ready or not, whether you're happy or sad, whether it was a good day, whether it was a good year or a devastating one, time moves, okay? You wake up one day and 5 years went by and you're not sure what you did with them. Okay? You know that feeling, right? Where you're not even sure how it happened, but somehow you're further along in age and you're further behind in everything you told yourself you'd do. That's what time does. That's time doing what it does, right? Moving unconditionally. Okay, but here's what gets me. People think about wasting time in small chunks. Like I wasted an hour, I don't know, doing this, watching that. But that's not what really happened. That hour was a piece of your life, an irreplaceable, non-refundable piece of the one life you were handed, and now it's gone. And I'm not saying every hour needs to be productive in some grind sense. That's not what that's not what this is about. Rest is definitely real and important. Joy is, real, but there's a difference between rest that you choose and time that you just let slip because you weren't paying attention. Think about tomorrow. You probably feel like tomorrow belongs to you. Okay, like it's waiting, and whenever you're ready, you'll step into it and do the thing, start the thing, change the direction. But tomorrow doesn't belong to me. Tomorrow doesn't belong to you. Okay? You don't own the future. You only ever have right now. And the only proof of what you did with it is your actions. What you built, what you started, what you showed up for. Your actions are the receipt. And one day, I really believe this, one day you're going to meet the person your days created. Okay? The version of yourself that all these choices, all these mornings, all these hours added up to. And the question is whether that person is who you are working toward or just who you drifted into. That's the real question. Not who do you want to be, who are your days building? Let me tell you how most people are living. Okay, they wake up, phone goes off, they scroll for 20 minutes before they even get out of bed and their feet hit the floor. They get ready, energy drink, coffee, then they drive, right? They go to the job that they're neutral about. And, maybe they're miserable, maybe they're not, maybe not thriving, they're just fine, right? They do the work, they come home tired, maybe you work out, maybe not. They eat dinner, TV, phone again, sleep, repeat. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, they think about the things they want to do someday, right? The trip, the business, the version of themselves that feels, a little bit more alive. And they think about it and then they put it back and they keep going and they call that a life. But what it really is organized existence. Okay, it's moving from one obligation to the next and calling it living. I mean, because you're technically not dead. But here's what bothers me about autopilot. It doesn't feel bad enough to change. That's the trap. If it felt terrible every day, you'd do something, but it just it feels okay. It feels comfortable and it feels normal. And normal is the most dangerous thing in the world when what you actually want is something more. People waste years chasing a standard that they'll never actually choose, right? Or a standard that they never actually consciously chose, right? They get the job that's, all right, that's respectable, the house that makes sense, the routine that's manageable for them, and they did it because it's what you're supposed to do, because it's what everyone around them did. Because at some point they stopped asking what they wanted and they started asking what was expected, and then they just followed the answer of that. And I get it. I catch myself in it too. I'll be honest about that, okay? There are stretches where I look up and realize I've been reacting to my days instead of directing and controlling them, right? Going along, doing what's in front of me, not really choosing anything. And that's, to me, a strange feeling because nothing is technically wrong, but something is definitely off. Something feels hollow, like you're on a moving sidewalk at the airport, right? And you forgot you can walk. That hollowness is autopilot. And the thing about autopilot is it almost removes responsibility, right? That's why it's so easy to stay in, because if you never really make a choice, you never really have to own the outcome. You just got carried there, right? It just sort of happened. But that's also why it eventually feels empty, because a life that you didn't choose doesn't feel like yours. It just feels like something you ended up in. And I think most people, if they're honest with themselves, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? I want to talk about something that I think gets completely underestimated, right? The small moments, right? The ones nobody sees, the ones that don't get posted or celebrated or acknowledged by anyone but you. Because I think your life is actually being built in those moments, not the big ones, right? The small ones. The morning you got up before you had to and you did something that mattered to you. Maybe, I don't know, the night that you chose to work on something instead of checking out. The choice that you made when nobody was watching and nothing was on the line, right? No audience, no consequences, no, I don't know, congrats, nothing. Just you and that decision. Those moments are the foundation. And the problem is that people skip them, right? Because they feel small, they feel optional. You can always do it tomorrow. Nobody will know. It doesn't matter today, but it does matter. Because those small moments are not building your skills or your body or your bank account. They're building you. They're building your standard, right? The private standard, the one that you hold when nobody's there, when nobody's watching. And that private standard becomes your public result. Because eventually the big moment comes. Okay, the opportunity shows up. The pressure is on, and suddenly everything you built in private is all you have to work with, right? The opportunity doesn't make you ready. It just reveals whether you were. That's the part people miss. They think that, the moment of success is separate from the daily decisions, but it's not. It's downstream from that, right? It's the it's the accumulation of 1,000 moments you chose to take seriously when you didn't have to, right? Think about the morning before work. That hour is yours before whatever you have to do, before the demands, before the day tells you what to do. What you do with that is a statement to yourself, right? Not to anybody else. Are you somebody who uses the time you have, or are you somebody who waits until the conditions are perfect? Right? Think about the hour after work. You're tired. The day took something from you. You have less energy and you have a choice. You can recover in the way that feeds you, or you can just disappear into distraction until it's time to sleep and then you do it all over again. Right? Both of those feel same in the moment, but they don't feel the same over a year. Okay? The choices nobody claps for and the choices that nobody recognizes or applauds are the ones that actually matter the most, because those are the real choices. Right? Those are the real unforced ones, the ones that show you what your actual standard is when no pressure is applied. Okay? Your name is attached to how you live when nobody's watching. Not the highlight reel, not the effort that you put in when stakes are high, the everyday version of you making decisions in private. That's the most honest version of your character, and it always shows up eventually. Okay? Now, I want to be real, okay, about with you about something. There are two kinds of pain, and you're gonna carry one of them. There's no version of this where you don't carry something, okay? But the question is which one? The first kind is the pain of effort. Okay, the discomfort of actually trying, right? The vulnerability of going after something that you genuinely want and not knowing if it's going to work out, right? Sacrifice, I don't know, early mornings, things that you have to give up, failures that come along the way, people who thought you were crazy or naive or wasting your time or stupid or whatever. That pain is real, okay? And I don't want to minimize it. Trying in itself costs something innately, right? But here's what I know about that kind of pain. If you get through it, okay, if you push through it and you actually build something and you become something, you earn something, you forget the pain. Okay, you actually do. I mean, you remember that it was hard, but you don't feel the hardness anymore. What you feel is the other side, the pride, right? Knowing that you gave yourself to something and it became real. And that feeling swallows everything that came before it, right? Pain from effort is temporary, right? When it becomes pride. But the second kind of pain, the second kind is different, right? It's the second kind of pain is regret. And regret is not like effort pain. It doesn't fade when you achieve something because there's nothing left to achieve. The window closed, right? That time has passed. That's no longer achievable. And now all you have is the awareness of what you didn't do when you had the chance. And that's a different kind of weight because, with effort, you always have the next action. You can do more and you can go again, try differently, whatever. There's always something you can actually do, but regret removes that. Regret is just, the loop, just the same question on repeat with no answer available, right? What if I actually had tried? What if I had taken it seriously? What if I had stopped waiting and just gone for it? And there is no answer. There's nothing you can do with that question. It just lives in you. I'll tell you what scares me. It's not failing. I can deal with failing. Failing after, giving everything you have, that's just part of it. That's honest, You got in the game, you went hard and it didn't work out. You learn and you go again. That I can live with. What scares me, honestly, is looking back and knowing that I had time and I didn't use it. Knowing that I had ability and I left it in the drawer, right? Knowing that there was a version of my life that I was capable of and I chose comfort over it and now the chance is gone. That's the fear that actually moves me. It's not the fear of trying and falling short, the fear of never really trying, the fear of playing it safe for so long that one day I look up and there's no road left. It's just the question of what could have been. And that question, I don't want it. I don't want to be sitting somewhere looking back and carrying that. And I don't think that you do either, which is why I'm saying this. So, the pain of trying and failing is survivable. The pain of knowing that you never gave yourself fully to your own life, I don't think that one ever goes away. So let's talk about today, right? Not some future version of your life, not the plan that you have for when things settle down or when the timing is better, or when you feel more ready, right? Today, this day, the one that you're actually in, because the life that you want, whatever that means to you specifically, is not waiting for you in some cleaner future. It's being built right now. And in the decisions that you make on an ordinary day when nothing is inspiring about it and nobody's watching and you do it anyway. Okay, stop waiting for the right emotional state. You're not going to feel motivated every day. Sorry. You're not going to feel motivated every day. Okay, you're not going to feel clear and driven and inspired and excited every morning. Some mornings you're going to go and you're going to feel like none of it matters and you're running behind, and what's the point? And on those mornings, the question is not how you feel. The question is what you do, because the person you want to become is not built on the days when everything lined up. They're built on the days when nothing did and you showed up anyway. Okay, and stop acting like today doesn't count because it's ordinary. There is no ordinary day in your life. Every single day is a day of your life. Okay? It's real, right? It's real time. It's irreplaceable, and what you did with it will become part of the person you are in the life that you look back on. But the nuance I want to give is you don't need to fix everything today. Okay? You don't need to overhaul your whole existence in one move. Okay, you just need to own the time that's in front of you right now, the hour that you have, the decision on the table, the thing that you keep saying you'll do and you keep not doing. You don't need more time. You just need to actually use the time that you already have to your full capacity, and that's it. That's literally the whole thing. Okay? Own the morning, own the choice, own the direction, and then do it again tomorrow. Because here's what I come back to every time I think about this. One day, you are going to ask what you did with your life, and the answer is being written right now. Okay? Not another day, not someday, not later, not next week, whatever. Right now, in this day, with what you do with the time between when you wake up and when you close your eyes. The answer is being written then, okay? So my best advice to you is to make sure that the answer to that is one that you can live with in the future. Okay? So, thank you for listening to episode 29 of the Self-Discovery Files. My name is Dylan Phipps. If you haven't followed me on my socials, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Dylan Phipps. I post every single day on TikTok. If you haven't followed me on whatever platform you're listening to this on, follow me. You'll get updates every single Monday at 12 Eastern when we upload a new episode. And I'll see you guys next week for episode 30.